Today we're going to talk about a camera which has quietly been crushing it for well over a decade, but almost nobody is talking about anymore. It's the Olympus OM-D EM5, and this is a 15-year-old mirrorless camera, but I think it has way more character, durability, and fantastic image quality, much more than any budget camera on the market at the moment. I got mine for under 400 quid. Let's talk about design. The OM-D EM5 is vintage looking, and for all the right reasons. I feel like Olympus nailed the film camera aesthetic, and that's translated over to this mirrorless camera. It's small and it is really solid. It's super thick, it's made of magnesium, and it's super tough. And a bonus is it's also weather sealed. And despite being an old camera, it's got this articulated screen at the back, which makes taking pictures really easy. One thing I really love though as well is the buttons and the dials. There's some really satisfying switches. All the dials are nice and clicky, it feels responsive, and it just gives you a feeling that some newer cameras don't. It's pure, just retro toughness. You'd never guess it was over a decade old. And that durability really helps you out if you aren't especially careful with it. I've taken this camera everywhere, and by everywhere I really mean everywhere. I took it on my best friend's stag do a couple of years ago, and it was permanently on me. I was not careful with it, and there is barely a scratch on it. You could sell this as very good condition on somewhere like MPB. It is still in really good condition for a camera that is pretty old now, and also one that has not had the kindest life, shall we say. It still works like a tank every single time. It is super reliable, and I love how robust, how tough it is design wise, and also just look at that. I mean, I've already commented on the vintage looks of it, but it is just a stunning camera. One thing that I wish I'd done though is I wish I'd bought the black version of the lens instead of the silver. I feel like the silver ruins the aesthetic a little bit of the all black OM-D, but I'll let this one go. Now let's talk about the image quality, because that's where this camera really punches above its weight. It's only got a 16 megapixel Micro Four Third sensor, which to some might feel a little bit dated, but the raw files out of this camera are great and they're really easy to work with. The images are fantastic. You could use them straight out of the camera, but I like having a little bit of play in Lightroom, and I think you can get some amazing results. You can really still push the shadows, and there's a lot of image detail and quality there. I would say occasionally the highlights, I've noticed a few issues, a few sort of weird color shifts, but on the whole, they're lovely to work with, and the final image is superb. I will say it is not the best in low light, which you can be expected of a sensor this size, but it is still a pretty good camera, and the IBIS does sort of help a little bit to compensate. You can still reduce the shutter speed a little bit, and if you've got a steady enough hand, there's a little bit of compensation there, but it is not one I'd say is phenomenal in low light, but it can do the job. As a result of having things like IBIS and its nice sort of compact build, the shooting experience is really lovely. It in a way does feel old-fashioned with the clicky buttons, manual dials, and the tilt and back screen. But I really like that about it. It feels sort of a no-fuss approach to photography. You're not worried about all the crazy features, that new camera companies will sell new cameras on. It just does the basics, and it does them really well. So if you're just looking to take good images, this will do that for you. And for an older camera, it's got some features that are ahead of its time. I say IBIS is a big one for me that I thought was a bit ahead of its time, the tilty screen. These are things on modern cameras which have become an expectation, but back then that was pretty groundbreaking. And the fact that the image quality still holds up today, I think is astounding. And here really is the best bit, the price. I got mine for less than £400 on MPB. The camera body was £169 and the lens was £199. So all in, £400 with change. That is astounding. You can't even buy an entry-level DSLR for that price anymore. Try and compare that to what £400 will get you now. There's no comparison. For about £400 now, that's about the price of a GoPro, I believe. I don't even know if you can pick up a Canon Rebel anymore. Even point and shoots are getting expensive now. The Sony RX100 line is, ludicrously expensive. I don't know if you can find anything that's got a better bang for its buck than the OM-D EM5. If you do, please tell me. This is a camera that I bought for my Ricoh GR3X, and as a result, it come everywhere with me. At the time, I really wanted a compact camera because I'd only ever had a big camera, and I just wanted something that was a bit more pocketable, and this really bridged that gap. And I think this was what first rekindled my love with photography, and then the Ricoh just sort of added to that. This was the thing that got me taking pictures more often and taking a camera out with me. And whilst I've largely traded this in for using the smaller Ricoh, this is still a camera I break out very often. If you are feeling a bit out of sorts with photography, which I was around the time, it is a great camera to sort of rekindle that love and the passion of taking pictures every day. I think it really helped me with that because it gave me more opportunities to take pictures. I'd say this camera is a bit of a sleeper classic. It has tons of charm, personality, but also power behind it. It is definitely one to have a second look at. and I think it still has a place in 2025. I'd say even more so than in the past few years because of the boom of compact cameras. If you're not sure if those kind of cameras are right for you, don't drop 1,500 quid on the latest Fujifilm X100, whatever. Invest in a smaller used camera from somewhere like MPB or Wex or wherever your used camera is, even if it's Facebook Marketplace, wherever. Try something like this first, because buying this camera made me be able to justify buying the Ricoh, because I knew that I liked this style of photography, the more compact, smaller camera that can take to more places. If you enjoyed this review, then maybe drop us a like, consider subscribing, and let me know in the comments, what is your favorite underrated camera?